Hey, welcome to Strickland's and Friends.
We're the Stricklands.
And we're the friends.
Yeah, both of them.
So we're at their house today. We decided to take the show on the road and make jackfruit barbecue. And why are we making jackfruit barbecue?
Oh, it's good.
It's
really
very
good.
tasty.
It is good.
And hard to do.
And hard to do because
And your father is one is a
wants-
big barbecue
yes.
fan.
Yes,
Right.
Pop is a huge fan.
Everyone in our community is a big fan.
right. So we want to make healthy jackfruit barbecue. We all ate at a restaurant a few months ago.
Yeah.
And we had some jackfruit, and so we thought
We could do it better.
we can do it better.
We could
It's
really
the best
do it
way to
better.
put it. We could do it better.
But it really is a trick with jackfruit barbecue. It can be really kind of bad and hard to eat if
Slimy.
it's mushy and slimy.
Slimy.
But if you get it dried out just right, like the pros do, then you can have a great meal. And they're going to show you how.
Exactly.
Take it
All
away,
right.
gals.
So here we go. We're making jackfruit barbecue. Okay, so we're going to start with, we have this pan already heating up, and we are adding onions and garlic. And
this
so, not just yet. Let's start with the onions. So we already have one really big onion shredded up, sliced up, and we're just going to toss it in the pan. And we'll get that cooking a little bit first. And some garlic. So this is 3 cloves of garlic. Just get all that in there too. All right, so we have 3 cloves of garlic and 1 large onion. And that's starting to get hot, but okay. So one thing we didn't add was oil. So instead of oil, we're going to add just a little bit, maybe a tablespoon at a time. So go ahead and just put a tablespoon in. And if it starts to stick, that's when we add more vegetable broth. So we'll let that cook for just a minute. I can feel it getting hot. Yep, that's getting hot. Okay, so we want that to cook down for just a little bit. But, okay, so your dad likes barbecue, but does not eat pork barbecue anymore.
No.
And so, thank goodness. And so, because of health issues, and so we're trying to give him some healthy barbecue to see if he likes it. So at the end of this, we're actually going to let him taste it to see what he thinks.
Yeah,
So,
he's going to love it.
so hopefully,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, when we first
see.
moved here, barbecue's the big deal around here. And so we would go to we weren't vegan at the time, and we went to all the joints to find out which one had the best. So
Right.
I'm excited to see
That's funny.
how good ours are.
I do something like that too, but every time I go to a vegan restaurant, I have to try the mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
That's my thing. To know if it's a good vegan restaurant, I have to try the vegan mac and cheese.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's better than others. So that is still, that's like the final frontier of vegan food is cheese. So,
And if Noah likes it, then we're in good.
Right, exactly. Noah is
My
Noah
son.
is their son.
My very picky son.
A very picky son. Okay, so that's starting to get cooked, and it's not really sticking too badly, so we're good. Okay, so jackfruit is interesting because it can be, like Brian said a little while ago, it can be very slimy if it's not cooked until it's really, really done. And so we have a couple of cans of this kind of jackfruit. Whoa, I just dropped that. That was funny. Okay, I can't even say the brand name of this because I got it at an Asian grocery store, but luckily it has the translation underneath it for young green jackfruit in brine. So when you buy jackfruit, make sure it's in brine and not in syrup, because in Asian countries they eat jackfruit as a dessert sometimes, and they'll put it in syrup because it is a fruit.
This is also one that I found at Whole Foods. It's been a while because
What
I've been
brand is
intimidated to make my own jackfruit barbecue.
Native Forest. Okay, so it's organic jackfruit.
So you can find these in a couple of different places.
Right, and Asian restaurants, Asian grocery stores tend to have it. So this is from an Asian grocery store. Brine just means it's more of like a salt water that it's preserved in instead of syrup. So do not buy the kind in syrup and then try to make barbecue, because that would be really gross, because it would be like sweet. Blah, don't do that. So make sure it says in brine, not in syrup. Okay.
Have you ever bought it whole and cut it open?
Oh, have you ever seen one of those?
Yeah, they're
suckers?
giant. So this is what they look like. They're
huge.
big,
Big green lumpy
watermelon
things.
size.
Yeah, they're huge, and they smell horrible.
Oh.
Like horrible when you cut it open. So yeah, that doesn't smell great, but Durian is the same way. Durian is another huge Southeast Asian fruit.
Right.
So, okay, so we're going to cook that for just a minute. Okay, it's kind of softening up, isn't it? Oh, add a little more of the broth.
So is this similar to tofu in that it absorbs whatever seasonings and sauces you put in it?
Well, especially because we're going to force it to, because we're basically cooking it for a really long time. So, okay, I think that's probably soft enough. So, we're going to add both cans, and yes, they're still in really big chunks. That's fine. We're just going to toss them right in. Okay, totally empty. There we go. Slide that out of the way. And then what's going to season it right now is, well, all kinds of spices. Okay, so we have, let me make sure I get the measurements right. We have, a whole teaspoon of black pepper, which I'll just start grinding. You want to just start grinding and I'll add the other stuff. Just keep going. It'll take a while. All right, and then we have some salt. So it calls for 2 teaspoons. I don't really want to put quite that much. Maybe a teaspoon. There you go. Okay. And then we have a whole teaspoon of cumin, and this is this kind, Whole Foods organic roasted cumin. And we have a whole teaspoon of chili powder. I'm using ancho chili powder. That's a whole teaspoon.
That's not ancho?
Ancho? Ancho. Ancho. Depends on where you are.
Exactly. Ancho is more expensive.
Ancho is more expensive. Okay. And then a teaspoon of smoked paprika.
Are we done
adding that? That looks like enough pepper. Yeah, that's probably a teaspoon. Okay. And then we're just guessing. Okay. And then a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Oh, don't worry. It's all going to get soaked in. It's okay. And then we're adding, you could use vegan Worcestershire. Most Worcestershire sauce. Most of the time it has fish, like some kind, what is it, sardine? There's some sort of fish in Worcestershire. So buy vegan Worcestershire or just like a teaspoon of soy sauce. That should work too. That's about a teaspoon. Okay, I'm guessing. Oh, I'm dripping everywhere too. Okay, and a teaspoon of liquid smoke. Sorry, I'm just dribbling everywhere. All right, teaspoon of liquid smoke. That's about a teaspoon. Okay, and then 2 whole cups of vegetable stock. All right. And then we want to keep stirring. Let me see if we can scrape it out of there. And we want to stir all those spices in there to combine them. I'm going to turn that all the way up to high and bring it back to a boil.
Yum.
It smells good. So I'm going to add a little more liquid smoke. I don't think that was a whole teaspoon. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna get that all stirred up, and then bring it up to a boil, and then we're going to put a lid on it, so we can put the lid on it to get it to boil faster. And then once it comes up to a boil, we'll turn it down to medium or so, and let it just simmer for 45 minutes. Because I know those were huge chunks of jackfruit, but they're going to break apart once it boils, and then just simmers for 45 minutes. It will break up into nice big chunks or shreds.
So we set a timer.
45 minutes. That's
Alexa.
Yeah, like Siri,
honey,
somebody. 45 minutes. All right. And so we'll see you back in 45 minutes when that is done and it's soaked up an awful lot of that liquid. All right. So with the shredded jackfruit barbecue we're doing, we have now cooked this for 45 minutes. And brought it to a boil, brought it back down to simmer, and it did that for 45 minutes. And we're breaking apart some of the bigger pieces, but they kind of naturally fell apart while they cooked.
Yep.
Which is really helpful.
So it really looks a lot like the pork.
It really does.
The big chunks and the shreds.
Kind of scary now that you mention that. Yeah. It does look like pork. All right. So, and you do want some chunks in it, and you want some shreds, kind of like pork barbecue. Yeah. It has chunks and shreds. So, texture. Yeah. So then we're putting it in the oven. So this is the really key part. So you could, take that out here and put barbecue sauce on it and put it on a sandwich, but it's still a little mushy for me. So I'm one of those texture people. Like if something's slimy, I'm not going to eat it. So,
and it's naturally sweet too.
Right.
So you want to get rid of that too.
Right. So that's why we have all that cayenne pepper and all the different spices and stuff in there, all that regular pepper and garlic powder and all that stuff. No, it's got garlic cloves in it and onions and So, okay. So I think it's ready to dump it onto the pan, and it's going in the oven at 325 degrees. Just
Do we
pour
let
it
the
right
sauce
out.
in there?
Oh, all of it.
All right.
Yeah, just pour it right out. It'll all
cook
dried
down.
up in the oven. Yeah, let's get all of that stuff out of there. Okay, and then we're going to spread it all out on this pan. And yeah, it weirdly looks like meat. Kind of freaks me out.
Are we going to add more barbecue sauce to it?
We will add barbecue sauce to it when it's done. So it's going to go in the oven for about an hour to an hour and a half at 325, and all of that liquid will dry up, and then it'll start getting brown. And it's fine even if it gets some little charred bits, because like
that's what you want.
Barbecue has little charred bits, so that's perfectly fine. Okay, but that's what's going to make this. That's a really big one. Okay, it's going to make this better than what you get in those little pouches, or you know. So, excuse me, just squirt everywhere. Okay, so it should be really infused with that flavor though after sitting there for 45 minutes. So we'll just get it.
What
in
are we
the
baking
oven,
on?
325 for an hour to an hour and a half. So we're going to check it after an hour and see if it's dried out enough. And it's not, but then we're putting it right back in the oven because we want to get it really dry. So we'll see you back in about an hour to an hour and a half when that has really dried out.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so the jackfruit has been in the oven for an hour, and it looks freakishly like meat.
It does. The texture is really good.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Should we put it in for a little bit longer? Or
are we putting the sauce in first and then putting it in longer?
So you could put this in the oven for an hour to an hour and a half before putting the sauce on. So we have to decide how moist or dry do you like your barbecue sandwiches. I think that's the big thing. So we could take a little piece and taste it and see what you think. So hot. A little longer,
That's
make it
good.
a little
Yeah.
drier.
I would do a little longer.
Okay, so we're going to go back in for 15 minutes. How about that?
Okay.
Try 15 minutes and we'll take it back out.
Sounds good. All right.
Okay, so we got this back out after 15 more minutes. So it's been a total of an hour and 15 minutes. We think it's still a little too wet. So we took a little bit out to try in the air fryer, and the rest of this is going back in the oven for 15 more minutes.
All right.
So we took a little bit out and we put it in the air fryer for about 5 minutes. What temperature?
400. And
400.
I have the Pampered Chef air fryer, which has different levels, and I put it on the top rack.
Okay, so in a regular air fryer with a basket, I would go with 400, probably about the same amount of time because it's gonna, Okay, so
But it was 4 minutes, and it
4?
looked like this. Yeah.
Wow, yeah,
And
that's
it's
so
nice
that's
and
gotten
charred.
really dried out. So we're gonna toss just a little barbecue sauce on it. Mix it up. It came out looking like meat.
It's nice and crunchy.
It does look like meat. So, okay, want to get your dad over here to try it?
Yeah.
Okay, come over here and come taste it. Just
Our
give him a big
barbecue expert.
Right, the barbecue expert. Have a bite. Hopefully it's not too hot.
I know.
Spit it all out.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. Is that the best one so far?
Yeah.
All right. Texture's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's barbecue.
That's barbecue.
There you have it,
Yay,
folks.
That's barbecue. All right. Yay, cool. Okay, so we still have the other one in the oven, so we're going to let that go for a few more minutes and taste test. You know, if that one doesn't come out dry enough, we'll just stick it all in the air fryer.
We're going to
So-
cheat.
Yeah. So far it's been in there for an hour and 20-something minutes, so we'll take it out in a little bit.
Very cool.
Try it again in a minute. All right.
So good.
Okay. Here. That one's not used. I'll try it. Let's see. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
That sound.
Yep.
Cayenne.
So much better than that restaurant. So much better.
It's not dry at all.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, that's really good.
Spot on.
See? I knew we could make it better than
Yeah.
that restaurant.
If you don't have an air fryer, the oven still works.
Exactly.
It just takes longer.
That's legit.
Okay, so it's been 15 more minutes, and it looks pretty dry. Not as dry as it got in the air fryer. The air fryer gave it little crispy parts, too, which was really good.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, so I'm just throwing it on the
That's all
counter. Okay, so what do you think?
Does it look good?
Yeah, it looks
It
pretty
looks
good.
good.
So, okay, so now we're just going to drizzle it with some barbecue sauce and put it back in. Has to go back in the oven again to kind of let the barbecue sauce get into it, but okay, that's probably good. And we're using Stubbs because that's the lowest sugar one that I have ever found. Or you could make homemade. Okay, we'll get that all mixed up. Okay. We can get a fork and let your dad try it now and see what he thinks.
Yeah.
I'll grab a fork. Find some with a little sauce on it. And then it's hot. There we go.
Right, taste tester.
See what you think now.
Yeah.
Good? More dry or
That's good.
like that? Okay.
So just like this.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
you
can
have
eat
the
it just
option.
like that. Yeah, or you could put it back in the oven. So I think it's probably good like this, but
Yeah.
you know.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. So you could put it back in the oven, but something else we just discovered was air frying it made it really good because it was crispy, had little crispy bits, and
In a fraction of the time.
in a fraction of the time. So if you have an air fryer, I would definitely line it with parchment paper, so none of the stuff, because there's some little bitty pieces that would fall through if you have an air fryer with a basket. But you could line it with some parchment paper, and it might, you know, I don't know. I think I still might put it in the oven for the first hour just to get it, you know, that start on drying it out.
Yeah,
But because remember how the liquid that it had on it? So
that's true.
now that's all gone. So once it gets to that point, you could put it in the air fryer. Also, if you want to save it, get it to this point, and then put it in the refrigerator and then reheat it, it might be a really good idea to reheat it in an air fryer.
Right.
Because it gets
Any
it
of
really
your
crispy.
leftovers.
Right. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
It was really crispy and had little, you know, I don't know, little burnt bits that were
Charred
just
pieces.
perfect. So, yeah, that was really good. Okay. So, give it a try. Leave any comments or questions you have. Let us know if you try it. I'd like to know. But I think it's better than anything I've had at a restaurant.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the way to go.
Yay!
We
did
did
it. Woo! Thanks for watching.
So this
So-
is my daughter Adeline.
We have-
She is 9.
One more taste test to try. Hopefully it's cooled off enough. Okay, you ready? All right, I'll let you try it.
What do you think? Yeah.
Oh,
Big
wow.
thumbs up. All right.
Wow, that's huge coming from Adeline.
It's good.
My picky
Yay.
kids.
Yay, it must be good. Good job.